السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. كيف حالكم? How are you all? Last time we talked about the video of a barnamij, of a program for studying books. Inshallah ta'ala, today we're just going to speak about some authors and some scholars who have come throughout history, inshallah ta'ala, and just to see how much work they have done, and just to see the scholars' names and a little bit books here and there, inshallah ta'ala, and just speaking normally general about them, inshallah ta'ala. Even I have not read many books, right? Even I have not read, but let's be enthusiastic about the books, the effort they've done, so many books. And for that, we'll be using Shamila, and you should also download Shamila if you haven't, inshallah ta'ala, just to get an idea. And someday when you learn Arabic, to start reading some books over there. And so we'll use Shamila and look at the authors' names. It might be a little small, but I cannot magnify it. I don't know how to do it. So maybe you'll not be able to see it. So these are all the authors' names. And obviously the works here. So this is the Al-Mu'allif. So if you go here, Al-Kutub, these are all the books listed from the 540 Miladi. That is before Rasulullah, also the poets and all that. And this is Tasneef. This is like category wise. Someday we might be able to speak about this also, categories. What are the categories in Shamila, inshallah ta'ala. But as of now, we'll speak about the authors and the scholars who've come and who've written. And the Al-Kutub is the number of books. If you see here, Al-Kutub will be the number of books. The Kutub here is the number of, obviously the number of books is the one which Shamila has done work on. It's not like the total history, but yeah, some idea we can get, and it might be repeated also because if they might have different editions. So it's not an exact number of the works which we have in Shamila. So this is all based on Shamila's work. And this starts off, so let's begin, inshallah ta'ala. So it starts off with the poets before Rasulullah. So these are all before Al-Harith and others. This is before Rasulullah, all poets there. So they have these books called Divan. See, Divan, because poets, yeah, all of this are poets. And now it's, with the first 11 Hijri, he passed away. 11 Hijri, Ahmed ibn Tufail, he has a Divan, Ahmed ibn Tufail. That is poetry. That is poetry books. So this is the first book after, in 11 Hijri, he passed away. In 11 Hijri. Rasulullah passed away, 10 Hijri, right? So one day after Rasulullah passed. These are all Divan mostly. Then we have Ahadith. Some books people have started writing. An-Nasikh wal-Mansukh. This is Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri, 124. Just one book we have. Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri. And what we have found. And then 142 we have the famous Ibn al-Muqaffa. Yes, Kalila wa Dibna. That famous book. Someday we'll read these books. There are a lot of stories like that. He copied from Panchatantra and long story about this. But yeah, they've in Madaris people teach these books. Although there's some stories which are like fighting and so many things, un-Islamic things. Then Abu Hanifa's books here, 150 Hijri, he passed away, obviously. He has 3 books which are recorded from what Shamila says. There might have been more. One is Fiqh al-Absat and Fiqh al-Akbar. Or he might have narrated the book. Fiqh al-Akbar is about Aqidah, Aqidah books. And Musnad Abu Hanifa. The Musnad of Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah. So we'll just look at the scholars who are, we see so many books, like more than 10 or 20, 25. Let's see, inshallah ta'ala. Then we have Sufyan al-Thawri. He has 4 books. So we are in 161 Hijri. That is the 2nd century. We are still in 2nd century. 2nd century of Rasulullah after Hijri, right? Who's 13 now? Muhammad al-Hasan al-Shaybani. Naam. 13 books. The Shaykhan, no? 2 Shaykh Muhammad al-Hasan and Qadi Abu Yusuf. So Muhammad ibn Hasan al-Shaybani, rahimahullah, has al-Hujjatu ala ahli al-Madina. These books are there. Then we have Ibn Wahab. Ibn Wahab's book. 10 books we have Shafi'i, Imam Shafi'i. We missed someone, I believe, that is Imam Malik. Now, Imam Malik, where did he go? Malik ibn Anas, 5 books, yeah. 5 books, Muwatta ibn Malik. Imam Malik's Muwatta. Al-Mudawwana also. Then Imam Shafi. Now we are in the 3rd century. In 3rd century, 10 books, Musnad Shafi, Ikhtilaf al-Hadith. Risala is very famous, Usul al-Fiqh. Obviously, the biggest book. The mother. Ibn al-Kalbi. 14 books. Who's this 14 books? Abu Ubaid al-Qasim ibn Salam. This is what? 224 Hijri passed away. Al-Iman. Nasikh al-Mansukh. Interesting. Then you have 25 books. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah. Ahmad, Usul al-Sunnah, obviously. And obviously the biggest book of Hadith, Musnad Ahmad. Al-Ilal. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah. This is the 3rd century, right? 241 he passed away. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah ta'ala. Who was the 6 books? Al-Hadith. Then we have Al-Bukhari, Imam Bukhari. And who's before that? Al-Jahil. Jahil is famous in literary. He was very ugly. And he has a book called Hayawan also. And Bukhala. The story is Adabi person, Imam Jahil. 255 he passed away before Imam Bukhari. Then we have Imam Bukhari, of course, Tarikh al-Kabir, Du'afa, and Sahih al-Bukhari, Tarikh al-Awsat, history also. And this Tarikh al-Kabir is Ruwat, about Tarikh al-Kabir. Khalq Af'al al-Ibad, and Qira'atu Khalf al-Imam. Deciding should we recite Surah Fatiha behind the Imam or not. Imam Bukhari's position. 5 books. Imam Muslim's 5 books. 261 he passed away. This is 3rd century. Imam Bukhari's century, you could say. This is the 3rd century. Obviously, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal's also. Ibn Qutayba. Ibn Qutayba is famous for his Quran works. Gharib al-Quran, Ibn Qutayba. I just know one book of his Gharib al-Hadith is also Ibn Qutayba has Gharib. Gharib means difficult words, no? Difficult words in the Quran, difficult words in the Hadith. Who's the 61 now? 61 books. This is Ibn Abid Dunya. Ibn Abid Dunya is more about Zuhd. He writes books, and his books are mostly one page. I mean, 61 books in 281 he passed away, but most of these books, you'll find narrations. And you have to sort out the narrations. But he has good books about Dhammud Dunya, Dhammul Kadhib, not lying, for waqa'iq, heart softness, ikhlas wa niyya, al-rida anillahi biqada'ihi, being happy with the qada of Allah, husnul dhan billah. Interesting. So this is Ibn Abi Dunya, 3rd century, 281 Hijri. Who's this? 9 books. Ibn Abi Asim. Sunnah is used. Ibn Abi Asim. Then we have 19 books. Imam Nasai, 303. Now we have entered the 4th century. 303. Imam Nasai, Fadail al-Quran, Al-Amal Yawm al-Layla, very famous book. Fadail al-Sahaba, At-Tabqat lin-Nasai, Sunan Nasai, of course. Imam Nasai, 303. Then let's go down in the 4th century, 11 books. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, he comes, Tafsir al-Tabari and Tarikh. Is Tarikh al-Tabari also. 30310. Then Imam, this is another Baghawi. This is another Baghawi, Abu al-Qasim al-Baghawi. Mu'jam al-Sahaba, Juz al-Musnad Uthman. Interesting. This is Al-Hakim al-Tirmizi, another Tirmizi, I believe. Ibn Abi Hatim. Illal is very famous, Ibn Abi Hatim's. Then you have Ibn al-Ambari. Muhammad ibn Mukhallad. Suli. This is all the 4th century. 4th century. It's still in 4th century. So many authors, obviously. I cannot read all of them. I'm just looking at one who have done 20 works. Who's this? الطبراني, معجم الطبراني, معجم الأوسط, hadith, right? So Tabarani, if somebody calls, well, he's here. 360 Hijri, Tabarani. People get confused between Tabari and Tabarani, I think. Tabarani is this, huh? Tabari is someone else. I mean, obviously, we said 310, he passed away, no? Imam Tabari, the Tariq al 310. Yeah, here, Abu Ja'far ibn Jarir Tabari, 310. And this is Tabarani. This is Imam Tabarani for Hadith. Mu'jam al-Kabir. So anybody calls this is Tabarani's Hadith. This is where they're quoting from. And whose 11 works here? Al-Ajuri. Masalat Taifin. Akhlaq al-Ulama. 10 books. Abu Asbahani. I think this is another Asbahani. This is Abu Shaykh al-Asbahani. Then you have 21 books. We are still in 4th century, 21 books. Ad-Daraqutni, al-Ilal al-Daraqutni. Ad-Daraqutni. Hadith again. Hadith. There's a lot of work during the 4th century for Hadith and Tafsir also. Tafsir and Hadith. Sahaba, Su'alat. So Su'alat is about narrators, no? They'll go and ask someone a question. Oh, tell me about this narrator. So they'll tell you about this narrator. You know, it's all Su'alat. And there are various books called Su'alat. Ibn Shaheen, 4th century. And then we have another Ibn Mandah is also, I've heard his name, Al-Iman, Ibn Mandah. So, okay, that's 4th century. So 4th centuries, we have 4th century Abu Tabari, 310, and the Daraqutni or Muhaddith. After like almost 100 years, no? More than 100 years of Imam Bukhari, 385 Daraqutni. And who else was in 4th century? I mean, what we see more works, huh? Tabarani, 20. Yeah, we could say this Tabarani's era, kind of, the 4th century. No? Inshallah. 61 works. Ibn Abid. That is 3rd century. I mean, 3rd century, yeah. So this is the 4th century which we are done. Now let's go to the 5th century and let's see who's coming in 5th century. Who's up in various works? Who's 7 here? Abu Ubaid Abdullah al-Hakim. Okay. Sulami. I think this is Sulami. Oyub al-Nafs. 27 works. Oh, 17 works. Thalibi. Thalibi for language. Now, there's a lot of works for language in this era. The 5th century. Balagha. See, there's a lot of works for Balagha here. 5th century. 429 Thalibi. And his famous work for Thalibi is Fiqh al-Lugha wa Sirr al-Arabiya. In language. A lot of, and this is Al-Asbahani. This is the famous Asbahani, I believe, 430. Asbahani. 27 works. 5th century. 14 works. Who's this? Abu Amr al-Dani. Ibn Hazm is here. Ibn Hazm al-Zahiri. 15 works. Ibn Hazm al-Zahiri. Huh? 456 he passed. He's very early. People think he's very late. No, Ibn Hazm is very early. Al-Zahir, Zahiri Madhab. Al-Muhalla is the famous of his books. Muhalla, huge. Al-Muhalla. Ibn Hazm. Al-Nasikh al-Mansukh. Rasal Ibn Hazm. People think, oh, he's very late. No, they think that he's in 800s. No, he's 456. Abu Bakr al-Bayhaqi. This is Imam Bayhaqi, Abu Bakr al-Bayhaqi, 458. Very early, 5th century. Al-Qadi Abu Ya'la. I mean, people keep quoting Qadi Ta'liqat, Ahkam al-Sultaniya. Usul al-Fiqh also. Al-Udda. Ibn Abdul Barr, he has his famous book in Ilm also. Al-Jami. Adab al-Mujalasa. Ahmdul Lisan. Jami Bayan al-Ilmi. This is a famous book which I've heard. At-Tamheed of Ibn Abdul Barr is also very famous. Istidhkar of Ibn Abdul Barr is also famous. 463. I mean, famous in the sense I've heard, not like famous. Khatib al-Baghdadi is now 463. Khatib's books are wonderful. Rahimahullah ta'ala, al-Khatib. Even he has a book called Bukhala, lil Khatib al-Baghdadi. and Tarikh al-Baghdad. He writes as if you're living there, you know. SubhanAllah, very, very, very interesting, very nice. He traveling books are really nice, you know. Rihlatul al-Hajj. They even describe you the streets, how the streets are, how the people are in Baghdad. Very, very, very interesting. And obviously the Arabic will be difficult. It's 463, 1,000 years before us. Then we have Al-Khala'i. I've never heard. Imam Ghazali is here. Imam Ghazali is here, 505. Now, 6th century. A lot of logic in this century. Kind of. We have Zamakhshari and Imam Ghazali. Like Imam Ghazali is here, and Ihya Ulumuddin, and there's a lot of foundations being led for these things, logic based, kalam based topics here. Who's this 12 books? Zamakhshari, of course, and Kashaf. Someday we should buy Kashaf, Tafsir Kashaf, a lot of this thing, but Asasul Balagha also. Very difficult. These people's books are very difficult to read because a lot of mantiq. Allah. Then Ibn al-Arabi. This is the different of Ibn al-Arabi, not the Sufi guy. Abu Bakr Ibn al-Arabi, and he's very famous also in Ihkam al-Quran, in the Quran works. So many books here. Qanun al-Tawil, that is Tafsir, I believe, when they say Tawil. There's 9 books. Al-Qadi Iyad is also very famous. Qala Qadi Iyad. I mean, in the books which I've read, Abul Qasim ibn Asakir, 6th century, in 6th century. Ibn Asakir, 24 works. Ibn Asakir. Then 55 works. Who's this? Oh, Abu Tahir al-Silafi. Not Salafi, but Silafi with a Seen and Kasra. Majam al-Safar. I've heard his name, Abu Tahir al-Silafi. أربعون حديث في حق الفقراء لأبي طاهر السلف. The right of poor people. See, when you read, there's so much work which we've done which we have no idea about at all. Who's this now? Abu Musa Damini? I don't know. Madini? 57 works. Last, Ibn al-Jawzi, 597, he passed away. Ibn al-Jawzi, the star luminary of the 6th century. I mean, who else was there in the 6th century? Yeah, logic based. In the starting, logic based, but now Ibn al-Jawzi is here. Sayyid al-Khatib, Talbis Iblis. Countering how, for the common people, you know, how, and people used to, he was baligh in his sermons, and people used to hear Dhammul Hawa, all his books. But you have to be careful about the weak ahadith in it. Many times you'll find weak ahadith, so you have to do the takhrij and find out, inshallah. Then we have Abdul Ghani al-Maghdasi, Umdatul Ahkam, 600. Umdatul Ahkam, even till today, his books Umdatul Ahkam, Min Kalami Khairil Anam, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He passed away in 600. Umdatul Ahkam. The 7th century now, Ibn Qudama is here. Ibn Qudama, 19 works, but huge. Umdatul Fiqh, Rawdatul Nadir. Where's Rawdah? Rawdatul Nadir, Fiqhul Fiqh. Mughni, and where's Lum'ah? In his Aqidah. Someday we should teach Lum'ah also. Very, very nice. Lum'atul I'tiqad in Aqidah. Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi, rahimahullah ta'ala. This is 7th century now. We're entering 7th century. Ibn al-Athir is also here. Asadul Ghaba, for like, you want to know which Sahabi and all that, this is one of the books. Asadul Ghaba fi Ma'rifati Sahaba. Ibn al-Athir. 30 books. Who's this? Diyauddin al-Maqdisi. I have no idea about his books, but yeah, Diyauddin. So many people in Maqdis, and a lot of history books also. 13 books. Ibn Malik. Okay. Imam Nawawi, 676. At-Tibyan, Al-Adhkar, Sharh Nawawi, Majmu' Fatawa, Rawdat al-Talibin. What else? Imam Nawawi, Minhaj. And obviously Riyadh al-Salihin, Al-Ba'in. 676, Imam Nawawi, 26 works. 14 works. Now we are in the 7th century. So 6th century, I mean 7th century. Yeah, this is 7th. 6 plus 1, this is 7th. So 7th century, Imam Nawawi is here. And who else? 30, Abdul Ghani, Imam Ibn Qudama, Abdul Ghani al-Maqdisi. 620, he passed away. All right, let's enter to 8th century. 8th century is obviously the era of 100 books. From what Shamila has, there might be more 100 books. Ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. It's not just called Shaykhul Islam for nothing. Yeah? This is Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah ta'ala. What can we talk about his book? Iqtada Sirat al-Mustaqim, all his Aqidah Wasitiyah, Tadmuriyah, so many books. Al-Jawab, As-Sahih Liman Baddala Din al-Masih, Al-Intisar. What else? I mean, obviously his Majmu' contains all of them. Rahimahullah ta'ala. I mean, like one of the shuyukhs who said, he was born to defend the Sunnah. Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, 100 works, and nobody has reached till 100 works till now, no? And this is just what we have. There might be more in museums and other books which are work is going on. Obviously, I mean, there could be multiple editions of the same book, but yeah, there's so many books. Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. I mean, Minhaj is here, Minhaj al-Sunnah, the protection of Sunnah. Subhanallah, in Aqidah. Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. This is, he passed away 728. Who's just 12? Ibn Abdul Hadi. Shamsuddin al-Dhahabi is here, 748. All of his students will come now. Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. Imam Dhahabi, obviously for Hadith. Very famous, and Siyar al-Alam. Tariq al-Islam also, he has a book on history also. Naam. Imam Dhahabi, Mawdu'at, Al-Kashif, my name, Al-Kashif, Tadhkir al-Hufaz. Imam Dhahabi, 748, he passed away. 73 works, Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah, his works also should be read. What can we talk about Ibn al-Qayyim? Al-Wabil is here, Al-Fawaid, As-Sawaiq al-Mursala is here, Miftah Da'i Sa'ada, the key to happiness, home of happiness, Tariq al-Hijratain, wa Bab al-Sa'adatain. Zad al-Ma'ad, obviously, the best book in Sirah, inshallah. I mean, in the modern era, I mean, not modern, but medieval era, I could call. Ibn Hashim al-Nahwi. This is Ibn Hashim al-Nahwi, Sharqatul al-Nada, Shudur Dhahab. So he was in 761. Qatrun Nada, Awdah al-Masalik, Shudur Dhahab, Mughni al-Labib, or Mughni al-Labib actually. This is 8th century, Shaykhul Islam's century, Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Kathir is also here, obviously, Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Tarikh, Bidaya al-Nihaya, Qisas al-Anbiya, Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah, so many works of his, 21 as per this, Musnad al-Faruq Ibn Kathir. 13 works, Badruddin al-Zarqashi, this is another Zarqashi, Badruddin al-Zarqashi. 70 works, Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, his books also, powerful books. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, 795, the last ending. And he added more hadith and make Jamil Ulum wal-Hikam, no? He added 40 of Arba'in, and he had 42 plus 8, he made it 50. And he also has Fathul Bari also. He did not complete it. He Sharh Sahih Bukhari, and but he did not complete it. So that's why when Ibn Hajar will come on later on, he'll also name it Fathul Bari Sharh Sahih Bukhari, in honoring the Shaykh Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, Ibn Mulaqqin. So now in 9th century, obviously, of Ibn Hajar. Ibn al-Jazari is here. 833 he passed away in Tajweed. And his Al-Nashr fi Qira'at al-Ashr in 10 recitations. Ibn al-Jazari rahimahullah. 67 Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the 9th century. This is his 852. He passed away. Ibn Hajar and Hadith, and Imam Shawkani was asked, I believe, to write Shara on Sahih Bukhari, and he said, La hijrata ba'd al-Fath. No hijrah after Fath al-Bari. And so many books, Nuzhat al-Nadar in Hadith, and Fath al-Bari is La hijrata ba'd al-Fath. And that's why he named it Fath al-Bari, Bishar Sahih Bukhari. And he has a muqaddimah also called Hadith Sari. Muqaddimati Fath al-Bari. So 9th century is Ibn Hajar's century, you know. 67 works. I mean, there might be more and or more or less, but yeah, as per Shamila, 67 works. Then we have a Sakhawi, the 10th century now, right? 10th century. 10th century, obviously, of Imam Suyuti, Al-Jalal Suyuti, Tafsir Jalalain, and so many books, Imam Suyuti's books. الدرر المنتثرة في حديث المشتهرة. Alfiya Suyuti is also Alfiya. Imam Suyuti is 911. The number you can remember his when he passed away is 911 also. So easy to remember. The 10th century. And who's this 14 by Ibn Hajar al-Haythami? And now let's come to the 11th century. And Mullah Ali Qari is very famous here in Hanafi circles. Al-Mullah Ali Qari. And then didn't hear 15 books. Who's this? As-San'ani, At-Tanwir, Al-Jami al-Saghir. San'an. Muhammad, we have the 13th century, which is obviously the era of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. Shaykh al-Islam again. Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, his works, 41 works, but even till today we read his works, Salat al-Usul and Aqidah, and so many books. Kitab al-Tawheed for Aqidah, you know, so many. 1206, Tahara, Usul al-Iman, Shurut al-Salah. 41 books. 1206, this is his era. 1250 we have Shawkani also. Imam Shawkani is here. 1250. Al-Qawl al-Mufid fi Adillat al-Ijtihad wa al-Taqlid. Fath al-Qadir, his tafsir, very famous. Imam Shawkani. Nail al-Awtar also. I mean, everyone should have this book. Nail al-Awtar, he'll hadith and he'll discuss it with very detail. Nail al-Awtar, very huge book. Someday we'll buy, inshallah. We have Abdul Rahman ibn Hassan al-Shaykh. This is now 13th century is done. 14th century. Yeah, in 14th century now. Siddiq Hasan Khan. Siddiq Hasan Khan, Indian scholar, Kanauj, he was born. And he learned in Delhi. Indian scholar finally. I mean, they might have been before also. Like in 12, we have Dalvi. I'm not able to find Al-Hindi. We have the other one here, Hindi also. Ismail ibn Abdul Ghani Dalvi. So anyone Dalvi you find, you know, from Delhi. Okay. In the 13th century also you find something like that. 14th century. Siddiq Hasan Khan, we should read his book, Siddiq Hasan Khan. I mean, to defend the Sunnah for correct Aqidah. 13 books. Sulaiman ibn Sahman, 14th century. Muhammad Rida, 16 books here. Abdul Rahman al-Sa'di, Shaykh ibn Uthaymin's Ustad Abdul Rahman al-Sa'di, and we have Tafsir Sa'di also, no? Al-Qawl al-Sadid, and he has a book on Qawaid Fiqhiyya also. Al-Qawl al-Sadid, Sharh Tafsir Kitab al-Tawheed. Then we have obviously Al-Muallimi, Abdul Rahman Al-Muallimi. So many books. Abdul Rahman Al-Muallimi, 1386, he passed away. And just less than 100 years. And he used to sit in Hyderabad here, in a place called Darul Ma'arif, and to write many books. Like his famous Tankeel, and there's so many books, no? Al-Muallimi's books. And like Risalas and Tafsirs, Awad also. And nobody knew him. He became famous later on when he wrote on Kawthari. He wrote a reply to him. Abdul Rahman ibn Qasim. Imam Shanqiti is here. Imam Shanqiti, 1393, he passed away, rahimahullah. Imam Shanqiti. Usul al-Fiqh's Mudakkira is very top level, very difficult to understand. Imam Shanqiti's Mudakkira. But yeah, it's a book of Usul al-Fiqh. Imam Shanqiti. Amin and Shanqiti. Adwal Bayan, his tafsir also is very famous. Malik. I'm just talking about some scholars. Taqiyuddin Hilali's books also, Islam al-Madhahib. Who's this? 30 books. 2A GD. 2A GD. Al-Muharrar. Let's come to 15th century, and who is this with 46 books? Ibn Baz, Sheikh bin Baz. Sheikh bin Baz is here. 1420, he passed away in 1999. 1999, 2000, 1420. And obviously, this is Sheikh Al-Albani, who passed in the same year. 68 works. And this is, there are more than 100 works of Sheikh Al-Albani. But here we have 68 works. From what I know, there are more than 100 works if you divide them up and all that. And then Ibn Baz, 46 works. And the next year, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, 108 works. Right? We should read all the books of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, all of his explanations, all of his, books. I mean, there might be audios also in this, 108, obviously, because we have his audios, now we'll have audios also. This is Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen. And we have Sheikh Al-Muhaddith, Maqbil ibn Hadi Al-Wadi'i, and Yamani. Naam? Rahimahullah, 17 works, 1422, he passed away. Who's this with 10? Hassan Abbas. Who's this with 14? Sheikh Baghud Abu Zaid is here. We have Sheikh Ibn Jibreen. Ibn Jibreen's works should also be read. He passed away recently. 15 years? 15 years? 1430, he passed away. By the way, Ibn Jibreen has this book. This has not come here. Tasheelul Fiqh. Right? I've been reading nowadays. It's very nice. I've just watched the video. And he brought all the fiqh points, point-wise, and some 10 volumes, 12 volumes, something. Very nice. Tasheelul Fiqh. And just Kitab al-Tahara is 1 volume. That means he brings more than 16,000 or something. So he'll mas'ala number, he'll give numbers also. Very nice for Tasheelul Fiqh. Someday we could buy Ibn Jibreen's also, inshallah ta'ala. Who's this? Is 15. Sulaiman Ashqar. All his Aqidah series are very famous. Although some people said, there being claims he's in Ikhwani. But yeah, his books are good. The Silsila of Aqidah. Umar Sulaiman al-Ashqar. Interesting. 10 volumes. Abu Bakr al-Jazairi. 99 volumes. This is his book you might have already. And this is Sa'id ibn Wahb al-Qahtani, Hisnul Muslim. And his books should be read. So simple. Everything is point-wise. He passed away 1445 years ago. Almost 5 years, you could say. And everything he'll say, see, Hisnul Muslim min adhkar al-kitab wa sunnah. Wirdu sabah wal masa min al-kitab wa sunnah. Everything will have like that. Al-zakah fil Islam fi dawi al-kitab wa sunnah. Al-khuluq al-hasan fi dawi al-kitab wa sunnah. Good character. Hajj, I read his Hajj book. The first book which I read was Hajj. And I didn't find any other book which is better. Point-wise, everything, It's a huge book. It's not a small book, but in detail. All the bid'ahs and everything, he'll talk about this. Asma'ullah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Salatul Marid, he has Salah, it's separate books. Salatul Khawf, Salatul Jum'ah, all the rulings in one book. Salatul Jama'ah, all the rulings in this. How to do Tarbiyatul Awlad also, I believe there's a book. Fi Daw'il Quran wa Sunnah. Everything will have uh, in the light of Quran Sunnah, in the light of Quran Sunnah, more than 99 or more than that. See, all of this. Nurul Iman wa dhulumatun nifaq fi dawil kitab Sunnah. Everything will be like that. Nur Sunnah wa dhulumatil bid'ah, dhulumatul bid'ah fi dawil Quran wa Sunnah. Salatul Mu'min. So many books. And obviously you can see Hisnul Muslim, which has become in every household almost, may Allah. I mean, such a wonderful work. And then we have some living scholars, obviously, may Allah protect them. Shaykh Saleh Al-Fawzan, we are doing his book now, and he has worked very nicely, modern scholar, and everything. His books are like, he'll give you the final ruling, short and sweet. The shuruh of Shaykh Saleh Al-Fawzan are very nice for beginner students especially, and he'll give you the final topic. 39 books. Abdul Muhsin Al-Abbad, his books are also, he's very famous for his lectures. Shashurut Salah, Aqidatu Ahl Sunnah, Fis Sahabati li Abdul Muhsin Al-Abbad, Muhaddith. And this is 91 books of various scholars they've just collected in one heading here. Nasir Aql, all these are living. We don't know the scholars of these books. Some books, 16 books, 13. Who's this? Abdul Razak, Sheikh Abdul Razak, the best, one of the best scholars for the youth. His lectures and his shuruh. Now, 13 works. Shamila has worked on it. 17 works. Muhammad ibn Khalifa at-Taymi. There's so many works. 43. Who's this? 43. Abdul Karim Al-Khudai. This is all audios, anyways. Audios, but yeah, Sheikh Khudai's. I mean, when Sheikh Khuda talks about books and all that, he goes into very detail and talks about history and very nice. So these are all the scholars which we talked about. I thought, I mean, the list goes on and scholars are still writing books. And what can you do? 24, who's this? Majdi Hilali. Okay, 23. Muhammad Hassan Abdul Ghaffar, audios. And the list goes on, goes 40. Azhari Ahmad Mahmood. Someday we could talk about, the last we have is here. Someday we could talk about through this list also. Like if you go there, in the section like Aqidah, they have 784 books. Al-Firaq wal Rudud and so on. The list over here. And just go through the list something, at least, the books which we have in one topic each. So many books. Inshallah ta'ala someday. Inshallah ta'ala. I mean, if it's beneficial. So I hope something was beneficial, inshallah ta'ala, of just me speaking about the scholars. But yeah, I thought I'll just discuss since many days about the scholars, inshallah ta'ala, to know which century is which and who is before who. And there are various scholars like that. I might have missed many. So I'm just, whichever caught my attention of the number of works which Shamila has brought. There might be other scholars also, obviously. Because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of, so many scholars. Inshallah ta'ala, may Allah protect them and whoever is living, and may Allah forgive whoever has passed away. And inshallah ta'ala, may Allah enable to us to read at least some of the books which they have left behind, and to learn and to increase our iman and seek knowledge. Inshallah ta'ala, barakallahu feekum. Jazakallahu Khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.